My presentation topic is over the issue of sexual assault and how the documentary The Hunting Ground, as well as other activist groups, have invoked positive changes in our society regarding sexual assaults. I chose this topic because as a college student, it is relevant to my life and a topic of both fear and inspiration. This topic also brings about a lot of challenges that interested me because sexual assault is considered a bad thing. Much of the research that you can find on sexual assault is talking about how negative sexual assault has affected our country and the statistics of sexual assault on universities versus other crimes, as well as sexual assaults mainly on women. However, it doesn't talk about a lot of the recent movements, such as the Me Too movement and other activist groups that have been created and spread worldwide to positively change the way that people view sexual assaults and survivors of sexual assaults. The documentary and readings from the book were the most helpful in finding stories that had a positive outcome on sexual assaults and the way that survivors dealt with their experiences with sexual assault. The most challenging area of research, however, was finding other sources through the database or the ebooks that talked about the issues of sexual assault and how over time there have been policies, programs, or movements created that have created or affected a positive change in the issue of sexual assault and rape. Despite that, I was able to conclude that positive changes have been made, and both men and women are now more than ever vocal and open to talking about their sexual assault experiences and demanding justice rather than being silenced and pretending like it didn't happen. As a result of activists like Andrea Pino, Annie Clark, and Tarana Burke, the founder of the Me Too movement, I believe that movements like this are effective because they let other survivors know that they aren't alone and they deserve to be heard and they deserve to seek justice. Campus sexual violence statistics states that among undergraduate students, 26.4% of females and 6.8% of males experience rape or sexual assault while on college campuses. Sexual assault is defined under a very broad range of different sexual violence acts, including rape, sexual harassment, sexual assault while incapacitated or on drugs, and sexual violence to people with disabilities or handicaps. Michael Scarce, in his writing Male on Male Rape, discusses his experience of sexual assault while he was in college. On February 1990, while he was at Ohio State University, Michael Scarce was an openly gay male student who participated in an activist group and as a result suffered from extreme harassment and bullying from other floor mates and classmates at the university. It got so bad that he had to be relocated to a hotel along with one of his friends. But before that could happen, Michael Scarce went out to a gay bar alone as a way to get away from his abusive classmates and blow off some steam. He met a man there, and they talked. They liked each other. He brought him back home to his dorm, where they engaged in flirting and kissing. Eventually, the man made further sexual advances that Scarce rejected, and as a result, the man forcibly raped Scarce. He was very afraid of the backlash that he would get from his other classmates, so for a long time he never said anything about what happened to him, and he never cried out for help during the attack. Later, however, while he was doing an internship at the Rape Education and Prevention Program at his university, he was doing research and realized that what had happened to him was rape, and that there really wasn't a lot of information or research about rape on males. This inspired him to dig deeper into sexual assault against males and eventually write a book and the article that was in our textbook on male rape. Another story that stuck out to me was the one of Andrea Pino and Annie Clark in the documentary The Hunting Ground. They met at the University of North Carolina, where they shared many similarities, the most tragic being that they were both sexually assaulted while on campus. They had both went to the university to report their sexual assaults and got very little support or help. As a result, Annie filed a claim for the Title IX complaint, which protects students from the discrimination based on sex. This gained a lot of attention, and they began to do research on sexual assaults that were happening at other campuses throughout the United States. Eventually, they compiled their list, and many people started to reach out to them with their own stories of their sexual assault encounters. Throughout their college experience, they traveled the United States to different universities and talked to other survivors, as well as holding protests and broadcasting other survivors speaking up about their stories, as well as advocating for those who were not comfortable with speaking up about their stories yet. Additionally, Tarana Burke, who was the founder of the Me Too movement, explains why she created the movement. She wanted to focus on survivors and solutions rather than the negative connotation that comes with sexual assault and being a victim of sexual assault. She created the movement after she experienced sexual assault and racism in a situation, and she wanted other people to never have to feel the way that she did. The readings in the book tie together with my topic because they address stories of sexual assault that actually happen, as well as the idea of sexism and superiority, which directly correlate with my topic because sexual assault is all about power and control. These offenders crave being in control of someone else. Despite this, the textbook readings describe that a good way to fight the issues of sexism and the male superiority is through support, love, and equal treatment for everyone. Despite sexual assault being an ongoing problem in our society, Documentaries like The Hunting Ground, the Me Too movement, and the many men and women who have put time and research into contributing to positive changes throughout our society have continued to create positive outcomes that influence other survivors. Every day, survivors are becoming braver and more empowered to refuse to be silenced, blamed, or discouraged for what had happened to them. I believe that further research into sexual assaults against males, as well as sexual assaults against the disabled and handicapped, would bring about even more positive changes that could happen in the future in regards to sexual assault, especially sexual assaults on campus. The visual aid that I made was a collage over the different logos and symbols for sexual assault activists. I wanted to include pictures that not only were uplifting to males, or not only uplifting to females, but also males. And I wanted to include pictures from the documentary The Hunting Ground, where Andrea and Annie were in their dorm after they had done the research of the other sexual assaults that had happened across the United States at specific college campuses. I included the logo for the Sexual Assault Awareness Month, which is in April, and other pictures such as Tarana Burke at a Me Too rally and activists walking in a march against sexual assault. I got many of these pictures from sexual assault and activist articles on the internet, as well as this one that was taken for a book photo that they had written about their experiences with sexual assault and their research into sexual assault while they were in college. To summarize my paper, I wanted to include the obvious fact that sexual assault is a problem in our country, and that there is still the stigma of sexual assault and being a victim of sexual assault. However, through the work of people like Michael Scarce and Tarana Burke, we are getting better at accepting that sexual assault happens and there needs to be proper punishment for the perpetrators of sexual assault. Every single day, people are becoming more and more empowered and uplifted in their role as a survivor and helping other survivors get through their experience.